Today we are going to see something about the third unit, the cell structure and its functions. So we are going to see three major topics over here. The cell, the major unit of life, the biomolecules and the cell division and cell cycles. So what is cell? The cell is the fundamental unit of any living and the biological world. So what is the fundamental of chemistry? The atoms are the fundamentals of the chemistry. Like that in biology, the living cells, the cells are the fundamentals of the living world or the biological world. So of course you are reading the particular sentence on the particular slide over here. While you are reading the particular sentence, your multicellular organs are working. So how they are working? The contraction of muscles in the eye will make the particular eyes to move around the particular lines. And the same way, while the nerve cells in the brain will process the particular signals is being translated into the particular message into your brain. So what happens over here? We are working as a multicellular organisms. At any particular time, we have at least different 200 and 250 different types of cells are working at the same time for a particular function. As I told you, the living world, the living biological world is being divided into two major categories, the single-celled organisms and multicellular organisms. We are going to see the details later. Okay, so we can call those as the prokaryotes and eukaryotes. We are going to see the details later. So one thing you must be clear, all organisms are made up of cells. All living things are made up of cells. What is matter? Okay, so already you should have heard about the term matter in the physics. Anything that occupies a space is called matter. Okay, so in case of biological matter or in case of the biological living beings, the cell is called as the collection of matter. Okay, the collection of matter that is being alive. Okay, so you cannot say it in physics the matter is alive, but you can say the biological matter is alive. If you can say the particular matter is alive, that matter is called, or that particular collection of matter is called cell. So what is cell? The biological hierarchy or the living systems, the hierarchical order, the simplest collection of matter is called, or the simplest collection of matter which is alive is called cell. Okay, so the next point you should have be very clear. It may be a single cellular or it may be a multicellular. Okay, and in case of multicellular animals or in case of multicellular organisms, the cells are organized into tissues and organs or whatever may be the structure. The basic unit of any structure is called the particular cell. Okay, so we are going to see the entire structural details of the particular cell. We are going to see the entire different types of cell. We are going to see the internal structures, that is the organelles or the compartments present within the particular cell structures in the later sections of the particular unit. Okay, so before we enter into the particular details, we should know something about the cell theory. Okay, so the cell theory is dealing about the mystery or secret of two processes or two categories of processes of the cell. The physiological processes and the behavioral processes of the cells that participates in the living organisms, especially in the multicellular organisms, how they are integrate together with each other so that they can perform the particular function. Okay, so we can study the particular functions by means of the approach called the physico-chemical approach. Okay, the physico-chemical approach. So from the term you can understand what is the physico-chemical approach. So what we are going to do, we are going to apply our physics and chemistry knowledge over here in the biology to study the particular the cell theory or the processes called the physiological and behavioral processes. So what we are going to do over here, already we know there are cells present in a human body or there are cells present in any living organisms. So what happens over here, there are so many processes happens within a cell, within the membrane bone structures, within a particular cell membrane or within a cell wall. There are so many metabolic processes, there are so many anabolic and catabolic processes, there are so many synthetic processes, there are so many degrading processes going on continuously. Okay, so what we are going to do over here, we are going to prepare a cell-free system. Okay, so what is cell-free system? We are going to break open the cells and we are going to prepare the constituents of the cells in a test tubes. That process is called, so whatever process or whatever experiments you are doing with the test tubes or you are doing it in a lab condition, that process is called in vitro process. So what we are going to do over here, we are going to prepare the cell-free systems in the lab conditions and we are going to do the studies in the in vitro conditions to understand the behavioral and physiological processes and the role of cells in the particular physiological and behavioral processes over here. That approach is called the physicochemical approach. So what is the need for the physicochemical approach? By means of physicochemical approach, we can do the molecular level study. Molecular level study. So what is molecular level study? What are the elements? What are the compounds? How the particular elements are combined to form the biological compound, or what are the biological compound participates in the processes. Okay, so by molecular level analysis we can say what are the molecules or what are the biomolecules participates or how the particular biomolecules participates in the processes like digestion, respiration, memory and like that. Okay, so there are so many processes happens in any living cells or any living animal body. So those processes are controlled at the molecular level. By means of physicochemical approach we can study the molecular level details of the particular processes. In other way we can say how the particular processes happens at the molecular level in a particular cell. Okay, so what is the other advantage of this particular physicochemical approach? We can study the abnormality or in any abnormal condition what is the role of the particular molecules present within the particular cell. So that are the things, that are the details we are going to study in the particular third unit. What is cell, how the cell is organized as a unit of life, and what are the biomolecules present in the particular cell or within a cell, and how the particular cell is going to multiply, cell division, how the cell division occurs, how the division of cells is being controlled, the cell division and the cell cycle. We already know the basics of the cell cycle. We are going to study the details of the cell cycle and the cell division over here in the particular unit. So now we are going to see something about the cell theory. So we know there are so many things around the world. There are living things and non-living things. There are living organisms and inanimate non-living organisms. So what is making the organism is called as living, and what is the thing that is missing from the inanimate objects? So the answer is, as we all know, the living biological cell. So the cell is the fundamental unit of life. So there are so many types of cells as we know. There are single-celled organisms, multicellular organisms, there are viruses, bacteria, fungi and so many different kinds of living being and particles around the world. So now we are going to see something about the cell theory, and there are so many contributions from all around the world for the idea of behind the particular cell. We all know Anthony von Leeuwenhoek had discovered the microscope, and first he observed the structures, the moving structures, the microscopic structures by means of his innovative the structure called the microscopes, the instruments. Okay, so after that Robert Hooke observed the internal structures of the box like structures within the cells. Okay, so after them in 1838 Malthias Schleiden, okay, he is a German botanist. Okay, so he has studied so many different types of plants and observed that all the plants and all the different varieties are made up of the simple different kinds of cells. Okay, so what is the observation made by the German botanist Malthias Schleiden? He has observed, he has noted there are simple structures. So he has studied so many different types of plants and he has observed all the plants are made up of simple structures. Okay, so 1839, almost around the same time. Okay, some 1 or 2 years later or before, Theodore Swan is he is a zoologist. Okay, he is a British zoologist. He has studied so many different types of animal cells and tissues, and he also observed the same thing. The cells and tissues are made up of simple structures. Okay, so Theodore Swan also made another identification from his experiments. They are made up of, or they are being covered by a thin layer. So we are calling the particular thin layer as plasma membrane over here. Okay, but at that time he doesn't know something about the cell membrane. So only thing he has observed, there are so many cells or so many simple structures present in any animal's particular tissues, and all the simple structures is being covered by a single layer of or box-like structures. Okay, so he has extended his studies to the plant structures or plant tissues, and he has observed the same thing. Somewhat thicker boxes or structures present in the particular plant cells. So we all know that structure is called cell wall. Right now we know the cell structure. So okay, so we know those structures are called the cell walls. Okay, the point is Malthus identified the simple structures, that is cells, and Theodore Swan identified the cell membrane and cell walls by means of his studies. As of we know, the cell theory was formulated by Malthus and Theodore Swan because they have identified the cell structures and cell wall and the particular plasma membrane. But the point is, they didn't know something about the cell division, how the new cells are formed from the old cells. So the particular topic or particular idea is being proposed by Rudolf Virchow in 1855. Some 16 years later he has identified the thing. The cells are originated or cells are arise from the pre-existing cells. Okay, with that point we are getting the complete cell theory. Okay, so what is the cell theory is called? The cell theory dealing with the 2 major points. So what are the points? All organisms are composed of cells or the products of the particular cells. This point is proposed by Malthus and Theodore Swan. The second point, it is from studies of Rudolf Virchow. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. This is what called the cell theory. So cell theory is dealing about all the living organisms are made up of cells. All the living organisms are made up of the products of cells, and all the cells are arise from or originate from the pre-existing cells. That is what called the cell theory. So now we will see the overview of an cell. Okay, so the cells differs in size, shape and various activities. Okay, so according to the size, so there are smallest cells in the world. Okay, so the mycoplasma, we already know what is mycoplasma is. The mycoplasma, the cells are the smallest cells in the world. They are around 0.3 micrometer in size. The bacteria will be around the size of 3 to 5 micrometer in size. The RBCs of human body, okay, the red blood cells or erythrocytes, it will be around 7 micrometer in size. So what is the largest cell in the world? We can see it in a naked eye. That is the ostrich egg. Okay, so it is a single celled structure. Okay, ostrich egg or the egg you are gonna eat in a home, the chicken egg. Okay, so that is a single cell structures. So they are the larger and visible for the naked eye. And in case of nerve cells, they are the longest cells in the body. So they are they can reach at least the meters in size from one part of the body to the another end of the body. Okay, so the functions, as I told you, the cells available in various shapes also, because based on a shape only they will perform the particular function. Okay, so the point you have to remember over here, the cells available in various size, various shape, and according to the size and shape they are performing the various activities. So as you are seeing in the particular slide over here, So you can see the comparative structures of the cells and its cell structures with the atom. Okay, so we all know the atomic structure, or we cannot see the atoms with the help of any microscope. Even with the help of electron microscope, we cannot see the structure of atom in the microscope. Okay, so they are that microscopic structure that is called the atoms, that will be below the 0.1 nanometer in size. What is the size of small molecules or small structures? It will be around 0.1 nanometer to 1 nanometer in size. What is the size of lipids and proteins? It will be around 1 nanometer to 10 nanometer in size. So as you can see it in the particular slide, you can compare the structures with their particular sizes. You can see the frog egg, it will be around 1 millimeter to 1 centimeter size, and chicken egg, it will be around 1 centimeter to 0.1 millimeter. So according to the slide, you can see you can compare the sizes or size range of the atoms, molecules, cell structures and multicellular organisms like human being. As I told you, the cells are available in various shapes also. As you are seeing in the particular slide, you can see the red blood cells. It is a round and concave structure, and white blood cells, amoeboid structures, and the column epithelial cells, long and narrow structures, and tracheid, elongated structures, nerve cells, it is a branched structures. Okay, based on their functions, based on their cell activity, the cells are available in various shapes also. So we all know what is the cell and what are the different sizes and shapes and what are their activities. And now we are going to enter into the different types of cells. That is, as I told you, we can divide the entire cell into cell structures into two different types of cells, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. And first we are going to see something about the prokaryotic cell structures.